אוקיי, בעזרת השם. פסוק י"ב, פרק ח'. אני חוכמה, so now the Chokhmah talks again, right? The Chokhmah had already made a statement. הלא חוכמה תקרא ותבונה תיתן קולה, בראש מרומים מעלי דרך, right? בית נתיבות ניצבה. Then we had statement of the Chokhmah, שמעו כי נגידים אדבר ומבטח שפתיים משרים, right? And the six different versions, the Chokhmah translates itself in the Torah. And now the Torah goes back and after addressing how you acquire it, will tell you how to how the Chokhmah and how the Torah pushes back and rejects the bad. So pasuk will say like this: Ani Chokhmah shachanti orma. I am the Chokhmah shachanti orma. I reside. Orma is prudence, like they want to translate the milashon armomiut that we discussed, right? This shrewdness. The shrewdness is within me. The shrewdness shochenet resides in me. Stanley Boker Tov. We just started pasuk Yud Bet. We just started now. Vedat mezimot emsa, and vedat and dat, which is knowledge, logic, intelligence. Mezimot, foresight. Emsa, I will find. Emsa.
Could you explain? I know I missed it. I'm sorry. Can you explain what Olma is again?
Oh, my shrewdness. The Gaon says the following. Ani chokhmah shachanti orma. I am the chokhmah, right? The shrewdness is shachanti chokhmah. I established, right? Leshon shochen, shechina, right? Reside. I reside, orma, shrewdness. He says, b'makom shani chokhmah shochen, sham shochenet orma. Wherever you find chokhmah, wherever you will find shrewdness. Why? Because from the Torah, shrewdness is born. You develop the shrewdness from the acquiring of the Chokhmah. So we did speak about Orma in Havinu Petaim Orma in Pasuk He, right? And we explained that Orma there is 5 times Gematria Kevod El, right? Meaning that when you apply your Chokhmah with an agenda, with a purpose, which is what? Which is to reveal Kevod El. Then automatically you create a contrast between what is Kavod and what is not Kavod El. And you develop a trait that is called Orma, a trait of shrewdness that allows you to constantly and naturally evaluate situations, the pros and the cons, and instinctively pick up on issues, pick up on problems, pick up on 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 the on the traps of the Yetzer Hara. And he says, who mastered the Chokhmah and the Orma? Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu Ishtam. Yaakov Avinu is called a complete man, right? He the midah of Yaakov Avinu is Tiferet. Tiferet is Emet, which is Torah Emet, right? Yaakov represents the Torah. And Yaakov mastered shrewdness. With who? With Lavan and with Esav. He knew how to fool Esav, lichvod Shem Shamayim, for the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for the kavod, for the respect of the Bechorah, for the respect of the Beracha. He knew how to maneuver the traps of Esav. And with Lavan also. Lavan tried to, he was a trickster. He tried to trick Yaakov Avinu. But Yaakov's chokhmah, at the end, benefited him because he was able to live with Lavan for many, many years, 20 years, right? And he knew how to play him. Because at the end, he left Lavan with his wives and with the Shvatim. So, says the Chokhmah, right? When you acquire me and when you learn me, you also acquire the shrewdness. Without Chokhmah, you cannot develop that trait. Why? Because if you don't have Chokhmah, you don't have a compass that guides you towards the Emet to see the Sheker, right? When there's no light, there's no contrast of darkness, right? So it's because HaKadosh Baruch Hu created light, that from the light, then was born the darkness, which is the emptiness of the light. So the same way, the Chokhmah is what allows you to see what's Sheker, to see what's not true, and create that comparison. But how do you develop it constantly is by applying a purpose to your Chokhmah, which is the application of the Chokhmah lichvod el, kavod el, by respecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Chokhmah says, Ani. When you see shrewdness, you should know that there is Chokhmah. I am the Chokhmah. This is me. ודעת מזימות אמסה, he says, אמסה מלשון מציאה. מציאה, right, is to find בשיח הדעת, without planning, right? When you find something, you didn't plan to look for it. You found it. So he says, da'at mezimot, the da'at, ani mamsi, right? I bring it to life. Me, the chokhmah, I yield the da'at. And how do I yield the da'at? is because through me, the chokhmah, and the application of the kavod el, you know how to apply me in practicality, and how to save yourself from the nisyonot, from from being tested. That's the da'at. It's the application of the chokhmah in the practical level. So I create it. And I also create, says the Gaon, mezima. Mezima is the pnimiyut da'at. It's the depth of the da'at. The mezima, the foresight, the da'at is the ability to use the mezima in the da'at. Okay? The foresight in the da'at is the ability to use your knowledge, to use your bina, and project it in the future. The da'at is what you apply, the application now. The mezima, the foresight, is how do you apply all that knowledge in the future. Who is the chacham, the one that can see the future? How can the chacham see the future? Through the mezima, through the pnimiyut of the da'at. Is when you take a practical application of your knowledge and extend it and project it in time.
By also going backwards, right?
Why backwards?
using the chokhmah to derive what happened before in order to project forward.
Yes. But the mezima, yes. But the mezima, the specificity of the mezima is projecting it. The chokhmah is assessing the past. Is it Ken? And chacham keba'al nisayon. Nachon.
Isn't the thought of Yosef and how he interpreted Paro's dream was also how he used the chokhmah to go backwards in order to project forwards?
Based on the dreams that he had,
based on his experience, he was able to figure out what the cows were, what it represented. By using his chokhmah backwards, he projected forwards. That was the only difference, right, between him and everybody else, was figuring out what the cows represented.
Yeah, everybody thought that it wasn't applied on him, and he understood that it was applied to him. That the
based on his chokhmah of what happened.
Yes, but that's not what the Gaon is. No, the Gaon, yes, but so let's just say chokhmah. The chokhmah is found in two places. Chazal address chokhmah in two ways. One way says en chacham ke ba'al nisayon. Who is the chacham? The person that has experience.
Right.
Okay. Going back to what you're saying. Right, because the experience allows you to go back to information of what is in the past. What's experience? The experience is the past.
Yes.
And who is the chacham, the one that sees the future, is by applying the chokhmah, okay, forward. Yes, here the Gaon addresses mezima. The mezima, if we're gonna use what you said, the mezima is taking the information of the chokhmah, okay, that has in it your knowledge and your experience. Yes. And now apply it, which is that. The mezima is inside the da'at. The foresight is in the da'at. Okay? So is once you apply the da'at, the chokhmah to the da'at, what does that mean? Now you bring your knowledge to practical behavior and concrete behavior, right? How does that apply to me concretely? And now, there's a new ability inside the da'at that's called mizima, is now project all this in the future.
Mm.
So it's a new step. So now he's focusing.
The mizima is the step.
The mezima is the tool that allows you to project the da'at forward.
Like the processor. It's like the processing of the information.
In the future. In the future. In the future.
It's in that specific leg of moving from now to what could happen in the future.
Correct. Correct.
Use the data you have to project forward. You have this knowledge. You have the knowledge which was created by the Chokhmah. Now what are you doing with it? How are you able to make a decision for something that's going to happen for the future?
Correct. To make a decision today is the da'at.
So I understand what Stanley is saying, though. So you're trying to base that based on past.
Yeah, but that's chokhmah. That's chokhmah. Chokhmah is knowledge, whatever the knowledge comes from, right? Whether you are taught the knowledge or it's the experience, like Stanley's saying, right? All this is a bank of information. That's called chokhmah, right? The da'at is how do you apply all that knowledge today? How is that applicable, right? And concrete. The mezima is how do you project it and be able to call the moves before before things happen. Yeah? And that's what the Chachamim say. Chacham adif min navi. A Chacham is better than a prophet because the prophet only sees the future when Hashem reveals it to him. But the Chacham can always see the future because of his Chokhmah, because of his mezima. So Chacham adif min navi. So the Chacham is better than the Navi. Right? And the application of that mezima, right, in the future, is considered re'iyah. That's how you see. When you see the future, you see, meaning there's a map in front of you. You see what's going on. You have the ability to foresee, right? That's the mizima. And he says, emsa, okay? Emsa, there's mitzi'ah, v'lehamtzi. So lehamtzi is to create, right? To bring out. Mitzi'ah is to find. So he says, the da'atum zimot emsa, I create and I make it as a finding to you, right? That's what he says. That's what the God says. Ki da'at hi mitzi'ah. The da'at is what? When you apply your chokhmah, you find out things that you didn't know about the reality you're facing. That's what that is, right? It's bringing you clarity to a situation that you didn't have before. That's the definition of that. And how did that clarity come about? Through the work of the Chokhmah and the Binah to apply what you've learned to a situation. So it's open to you, right? A new outlook on a situation. So, and that's a mitzvah, because you don't know what you're going to find when you apply the da'at.
Sorry, Rabbi, can you rewind that one sentence for a second? When you apply and getting clarity of the situation is,
yes.
Can you just, sorry.
When you apply your chokhmah, right, through the da'at, yes, you reveal a new outcome or a new path or clarity to the situation that you're facing. Correct? That's what da'at is. And that's a mitzvah. That's a finding. That's a finding. That's a new finding. So the da'at translates itself, says the Gaon, through findings, through hidushim in the situations that you're facing. Meaning, if you cannot find a hidush in a situation that you're thinking about, if you cannot find something new, new findings in a situation that you're analyzing, you have not applied your da'at. And continues the right? like we said, Da'at Elokim Timsa, right? That's Shlomo HaMelech. Also in Mishlei, V'Da'at Elokim Timsa, you find that, the Da'at Elokim, you find it. By applying the Chokhmah and the Binah, right, in your life, you reveal that. You reveal this power on one end to apply, but also you reveal new outcomes and new facets to the situations that you're facing. And what else do you reveal? In the pnimiyut, in the essence of the da'at, by applying the essence, the foresight, the mezima of the da'at, you reveal the future. You understand that, right? Because by applying the mezima, by applying the depth of the da'at, and projecting your, and how do you do that? By projecting your da'at in the future, you're able to reveal the future before it happens.
That's so incredible. Because if you take it on a practical, like from a work component, right? Whatever business you're in, right? So if you're in real estate or whatever, you see it, you see a neighborhood.
Nachon,
You
can foresee that
change.
The change is happening and why it's happening and when it's going to happen and what's going to be the progress of it.
Yeah. And with a stone as well, you see it. You take a stone, you say, okay, I can cut it this way, cut it that way, and now I have a beautiful, incredible.
Yeah, no, or the market of the, if you have all the information, you know how to, you have the chokhmah, you have all the data, like Brian said, right? And you know how to apply it in the future. You know that, okay, the market is shifting from ISI to EVVS. I don't know if that's the direction, but probably the opposite. but from natural to lab grown, whatever it is, yeah, is the ability to take the data, apply it practically today, and then project it based on all the information that you have. And by the way, that's a koach that you have to develop. The mezima is a muscle that you have to work on. And it's by the way, it's a tool that you refine. Now, the more you apply it, the more you refine it, right? So make it an exercise. Make it an exercise and project yourself with the data that you have and see and put it, just write it down and see if you're correct and if you're wrong. And ask yourself, okay, if you were wrong, why were you wrong? Now, I don't tell you to project yourself in 2 years from now, but in the next few months, and say what parameter did I miss when I made my analysis? And then you'll know that was it a flaw in the chokhmah? Was it a flaw in the binah? Was it a flaw in the da'at? Was it a flaw in the mezima? And apply, and then you tweak.
A great line you just said, by the way. I just want to point it out again. Mezima is a muscle that you have to continuously work on and exercise.
Yes.
It's a fantastic way to just put that concept in one sentence. You're muted, Rabbi.
Yeah, so that's the mizima. The mizima, again, is the ability to take you have learned from your chokhmah and your binah in the da'at and project it in the future. Pasuk Yud Gimel. Any question on that or? Yirat Hashem, senot ra. To fear Hashem is to hate evil. Ge'a vegaon, to hate pride and arrogance. V'derech ra, and the evil way. Tahpuchot saneti. Okay, v'derech ra, and the evil way. Upitahpuchot, and the mouth that speaks two languages, like duality, duplicity, right? Saneti, I hate people that change their words, change their one day like say like this, one day say like that. So says the Gaon, what is the outcome of the Chokhmah? Yirat Hashem. Somebody that develops Chokhmah, that has Chokhmah, that applies Chokhmah, that uses his Bina to the point where he has Da'at and Mezima, he develops by default Yirat Hashem. Why is that? First of all, we explained that the Orma is applicable when you live your Chokhmah with a purpose, Kevod El, right? Now, on top of that, you know that the Chokhmah comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The source of Chokhmah comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like the chapter begins by saying, "Halo Chokhmah tikra utvuna titen kola," right? Yes or no? So that the Chokhmah comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you apply it to reveal the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for the kavod of Hashem, to respect Hashem. Now, with the proper da'at Torah, with the proper da'at, you start seeing the emet and living the emet and projecting the future. This is Yirat Shamayim. This is Yirat Hashem. Yirat Hashem, to fear God, is not to be scared that if you do something wrong, you're going to get a slap in the face or you're going to lose a deal. To fear Hashem means to live with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and love Him and fear Him so much that you don't want to make the wrong turns.
Because you don't want to be displeasing.
You don't want to be displeasing. And because it's so good. You're in Yirat Hashem is Yirat HaRomemut. You're in awe. You're in awe of the wisdom. You're in awe of the Chokhmah. You're in awe of how perfect and how good the Derech Hashem is, the path of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. So ma pitom you're going to deviate, you're going to make a left. There's no way you're going to do that. So it has nothing to do with the fear of punishment. Yes, there is a degree of fear of punishment with this Yirat Chet, the fear of the sin. But here we're talking about Yirat Hashem, which is the Yirat HaRomemut. You're in awe. You fear HaKadosh Baruch Hu because you're in awe. You're amazed by how infinite the source of Chokhmah is, how amazing and accurate the application of the Chokhmah is, and how accurate it is and foresightful it is. Now, that by default, if you have Yirat Hashem, you also recognize that your life is not really because you're smart. It's because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you the Chokhmah and the Binah and the Dat, right? So it really doesn't come from you. It comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why he says, Ani Chokhmah. I am the Chokhmah. Mi HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I am the Chokhmah. What does it mean, I am the Chokhmah? I am revealing to you what I want you to know. And all the Chokhmah that you have is what I allow you to know.
That how we develop the hate for Ge'eh.
That's exactly. That's why he jumps right away. Yes, we're getting to it in a second. So essentially, the more you use Chokhmah and you have Yirat Hashem, the more humble you become. Because you understand that it's all coming from above. This is why the moment you turn the Ani of Hashem to the Ani of you, this is the biggest robbery of history. So for that reason, Yirat Hashem, yes, you again Yirat Hashem, right? And by default, okay, your behavior and your instinct and your reaction is Sinat Ra. You cannot tolerate. You cannot tolerate. You hate evil. You cannot tolerate it. Ge'ah ve'gaon. You hate pride and arrogance. It just doesn't sit with you. It drives you nuts. V'derech ra. And the evil way. Upita puchot saneti. And you hate, and he says, I hate, right? The duplicity, the people that say one word and then they change they change they say one thing. Exactly. Now it fits perfect the reaction. Now says the Gaon, here we have 6 first. Let's before the 6. He says there are 3 traits that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates, that he cannot coexist with. Hashem cannot coexist with someone that has kin'ah, that has jealousy. Hashem cannot coexist with someone that has ta'ava, that has desires. And we know what desires means because we addressed it. And somebody that has kavod, that has ego. And says the Gaon, each one has 2 of the 6 evil traits that have been addressed. And we're going to see. He says like this. He says, kin'ah, jealousy, the definition of jealousy is a combination of 2 things. Of evil, of ra, but also mirma, somebody that says one thing in his mouth and means another thing in his heart. If you recall, we addressed the Ra and Mirma in the past. I think let me see. כן. In the pasuk Yud in Perek Bet, Le'atzilcha miderech ra. Right, the Gaon spoke there about the good of the bad and the bad of the bad. So he says to be jealous is to be evil. But you can't own the evilness. You can't own it. So what do? You're going to speak one way when your heart feels another way. Meaning you cannot man up for what you really believe. That's worse than the evil that actually says is evil. Because the evil that says is evil, you know. Right? But the mirma, someone that tricks you, that's the jealous one. So jealousy is a bad heart with a bad personality, right? Someone that cannot own his personality, he cannot own this trait, what sits in his heart. That's kin'ah. And why is that kin'ah when you think about it? Why is it? What's bad in jealousy? What's bad in the jealousy is that you're focused, you envy what's not part of your existence. You want to live the life of someone else. You want what somebody else has. That's the evil part of it. That you want to live the life that is not yours. That you're focused on something that does not belong to you. And you know it's wrong, but you're not willing to deal with it or address it. So you're going to lie. And you're going to pretend that you don't care. And you're not going to pretend that it's not important. So you're going to say one thing while your heart feels something else. That's the definition of kinah. So in kinah, in jealousy, we have ra and we have mirma, right? We have the bad and we have the mirma, which is the person that speaks one thing and he has something in his heart. Then we have ta'ava. Ta'ava, in it, we have the exaggeration, the overflow of desires to desire things that you're not supposed to the point where you start desiring also the hemda, right? You desire things that are not in your scope at all, right? The greed, like we identified, when what's not necessary becomes necessary. What's secondary becomes primary. When you lose your focus over your priorities. The root of it, as we discussed it, is tava, the desire. Disproportionate desires. That's easy. We've discussed it at length in Perek Zayin and Vav. And the third one is Ga'ava, ego. Ego, you have the Ge'a, right? You have Ge'a, and you have Ga'on. Ge'a is pride, and Ga'on is arrogance. What's the difference between the two? Ga'ava, when you're Ge'a, says the Ga'on, You're so important in your eyes that nobody else matters. That's ga'ava. Ge'on the arrogance is that it's not enough for you to be the most important and not care about others, but you care that others only do what you want. You have to rule over the others. It's not enough that you don't care about people. You have to rule over everyone. That's Gaon.
What were the two traits under Ta'ava?
You have the desire, Ta'ava, and Chemda, greed.
Wasn't it that each of those had two under them? Kina, Ta'ava, Kavod had two more under each?
So exactly. So we said under Kin'a
is Ra and Mirma.
Ra and Mirma. Under Ta'ava, it's Ta'ava. Okay, Ta'ava itself and Hemda.
Okay, got it. That's what I didn't understand. Okay.
And Ga'ava is Ge'a and Ga'on. Now he says the Gaon Mivilna Davar Nifla. So how many do we have? We have 6, right? He says every morning, every tefillah we make in the Shmona Esrei, I'm going to bring it up. If you have a Siddur, open at the end of the Amidah. Go to Yehu Leratson, and we say, Elohai, Hashem, Netzor Leshoni Mera, Vesiftotai Midaber Mirma. Right? You with me? Hashem, look what we pray. He says this is exactly what we pray for at the end of our tefillah. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to protect us from these 6 traits. And we're going to see. Eloi netzor leshoni mera. God, guard me from bad, from ra. That's the first trait of the kin'ah. Vesiftotai midaber mirma. And my lips from speaking the deceitful words, right? Huh?
Duplicity.
Yeah, duplicity is afterwards. It's tapuchot. Mirma is a trickster. You understand? And says the Gaon, then Venim Kalelai Nafshi Tidom, right? He said Venim Kalelai Nafshi Tidom ze Gao. That's the ego. That's the pride. Those who again that curse me, let my soul be silent. How is that Ga'ava? Because we said that the person that has Ga'ava, that has pride, he doesn't care about anybody. He can step on anyone. All he cares about is himself, right? So the man that lives only by his pride has no problem insulting others, directly or indirectly. and let my soul be like the dust to all. That's the Gaon. The dust, when you step on it, right, it goes up a little bit and then it goes back down. And when you see someone that tries to take control over you and impose on you what needs to be like the dust, right? Like it doesn't do much. It goes, my nefesh goes back to what it was. I don't get upset at it. I don't get consumed. I don't get controlled by it. I'm like the dust. פתח ליבי בתורתך. שירו חכנו עלי לרע מהרה פרסתם וקלקל מחשבותם, אוקיי? כן? פתח ליבי בתורתך, open my heart to your Torah. It says this is how you treat ta'avot. How do you treat the ta'ava? The desires. The desire is the opposite of the Torah. The Torah regulates. What is the desire? The ta'avot is when you apply your instinct in an unregulated way. That's so how petah open my heart to the Torah, so that I am not consumed by the ta'ava, by my desires. במצוותיך תרדוף נפשי, ואחרי מצוותיך תרדוף נפשי, and after your mitzvot, let my soul run after you, is the Hemdah. We know that the Hemdah is running after what's greed. We said that always running after after nonsense. So instead of running after nonsense, let my soul run after your Torah. Yeah, and here also this pasuk has these 6 elements. It says Yirat Hashem, to fear HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's holding yourself from the ta'avot. Senot Ra is the Chemda. Ge'e Gaon, Derecha Upitah Puchot. Right? Ge'e Gaon is clear. And V'derech Ra, and the bad path, the evil path, Upitah Puchot, and duplicity mouth, is the Ra Umirma. So we find in this pasuk that Shlomo HaMelech, or the Chokhmah, is addressing in detail the 3 roots of bad, of evil, that Hashem cannot coexist with. Meaning, when the Chokhmah is saying, I cannot reside among these traits. So Yirat Hashem in this case is the opposite of this. Yes. Of Tava.
Is it binary or is it gradual? Meaning, if you have 10%, 20% of these traits, does it mean you have absolutely no ability to absorb chokhmah, or is it gradual as the scale?
No, it's gradual. It's gradual. It's gradual. The more you have of it, and the less chokhmah can reside, can penetrate. It's like arteries that are clogged. The blood cannot flow. And ufitah buchot saneti, and the duplicity, obviously this is very clear, that le'olam yeh hen shelcha hen velav shelcha lav. When you say yes, your yes should be always a yes, and your no should be a no. You don't play around. The chokhmah cannot exist in someone that always fluctuates and plays around. One day he says like this, one day he says like that, one day he says like this, one day he says like that. The Torah cannot reside there. Yeah. Tov, Be'ezrat Hashem. That concludes. That pasuk Yud Gimel. then you're okay.
No, it's so deep. It's incredible.
Fantastic.
So, Rabbi, just to go back to the part right before it, is that if you have, what's the antidote to all of this stuff then? How do you break away from all of this?
Torah.
And that's the Torah.
Torah.
That's the
So
application of the
that's
Torah.
right.
That's
in
application
being-
of the Torah, the
getting
Kvod
the
El in
Chokhmah.
the Torah, the Kvod El of the Torah.
That's the anti of all of this.
Nachon, that's the first 9 psukim, the first 11 psukim of the Torah, of the Perek.
Chas v'shalom, someone who's involved with Chokhmah of the Torah, but doesn't do it for Kavod El, these three things are going to be the outcome?
It's a good question. It's a good question. It's hard to say that it for sure will happen, because the Torah itself, the Torah itself has a segula to protect, right? But if it's only chokhmah, so if the Torah is a chokhmah Torah, now I'll give you the two sides to it. On one end, the Torah, the Chachamim tell us, Tamid Chacham shen bo de'ah, nevela tova mimenu. A Talmid Chacham that doesn't have da'at, a dead corpse is better than him. Why? He's a Talmid Chacham. Not Talmid Chacham in our definition. Talmid Chacham in the definition of the Tanaim, at the time of the Gemara. So what does that mean? It means that you can have a lot of Torah, but if you don't have the Musar, you don't have the Yirat Shamayim, you don't apply it, like you said, the way you should, it brings out all the bad qualities, right?
Yeah.
Now, so that's to your point, that it has to be with the Kavod El. Yeah. Mitzad Sheni, right? If you don't apply the Chokhmah to feed your negativity, yes, the Torah has enough segula, has enough kedusha to it to drive you toward in the right way, in the right direction. So if you don't push back, the Torah will get you to where you need to go. Mitoch shelo lishma ba lishma, right? But if you apply that chokhmah to feed the bad midot, then lo alenu, you become a monster.
Yeah.
Tov.
Feel better, Rabbi.
Amen. Thank you.
Shlema.
Besorot tovot lekulam.
Amen.
Bezrat Hashem.
Come on.
So we finished Pashut Yud Gimel.
Thank you, Rav.
It was a